Welcome to this week's episode, our first ever episode of Correspendence, where we are focused on small makers and innovators in the industry. So today we are proud to have as our first guest on our show here, Rob Tierce from RT Pen Company, also known as Patriot Pen Turner. Rob, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
So I was lucky enough to have this pen that hopefully the viewers can see, which I only found out after the fact was your second ever pen that you made. So you're a newer entry into the market. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you got started turning pens?
Yeah, absolutely. It started with my dad. My dad's always been a woodworker, doing things on the lathe, so on and so forth. I got into it kind of as a young man, and then it kind of went dormant as I became an adult. And then, good old COVID hit and got stir crazy. And my dad was making pens, so I jumped in with him and started where most turners start, which is with kit pens. And I saw uh, pens by Casey from Australia and a few other pen turners, but really my biggest inspiration and biggest kicker for wanting to get into fountain pens was definitely pens by Casey and Tailored Pen Co. Those two are they were what put the drive in for me to start making the bespoke pens. And a lot of folks don't know this, as I am very new to the community. It was a year ago. July 17th July 17th of this year will mark the 1 year anniversary from my first ever bespoke fountain pen.
That's awesome.
In April of this year, I was able to unleash and go full bore. And I do as much as I can within reason. I am on a wood lathe as opposed to a machinist lathe. So there's a little bit more work that goes into it. And I love it.
No, we had spoken earlier before recording our video, and you were telling me a little bit about kind of your process that you go through with each pen, and you had said you kind of take your time with each resin, with each pen. Do you want to talk a little bit about that process?
Oh, absolutely. I'll usually pick 3 or 4 blanks from my drawer and see which one is talking to me that day. And a lot of things go into it as to, my mood, my thoughts, what the pen is showing me as far as the colors, the mood that somebody might be in when they, reach for this pen once it's in their collection. And then I just set about pulling the pen out of the resin. I just
Hmm.
peel it like a present and leave the the beauty. And that's the great thing about going to different vendors or different blank makers is they all have their own style, they all have their own technique. And I, as a pen turner, I get to be the one that reveals what's inside that blank.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the ancient Greeks that were saying that the statue was within the marble, and you just had to remove the marble to reveal the beauty within type thing.
Oh yeah, that's the mindset I actually have in mind is there is a gorgeous pen hiding within this blank, and it's my job to bring that out and bring it forth. And it's a pleasure, it's an honor, it's fun, it is unbridled fun. Those are my fennials. That's what's been making it into my most recent pens.
Cool.
They are little cast roses that I cast in a resin mold, and then I counterbore the cap and glue the rose in, and then put the UV resin to put a cap on it. And this is something I haven't seen any other pen makers make.
Nor have I. It's very unique. Very cool.
So that idea was at the forefront when I started. I searched the internet hard for a long time trying to find something that other people haven't done. And I spoke to a couple of other makers as to where they got inspiration for their finials. And for the most part, the community is great. And I just happened to stumble across a mold for what is essentially the bigger ones are soap molds.
Mhm.
But the little tiny ones are actually for candy and stuff like that.
That's cool. You repurposed it very well. Very neat.
Yeah. So, it was kind of one of those, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, right?
But did you make this one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ah, yeah, I
And
love this resin, and I love that ink window too.
okay. That is the one I was going to send you for review.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so
That's
for viewers who don't know, I had reviewed our other pen over here that you can see, and then Rob here was actually going to send me another pen to review, which apparently, where to go, was this one, and someone contacted him because they saw our video, and then went over and contacted him and bought that one. So when they contacted me and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like we're gonna send you a pen, but someone else already bought it," I was like, "That's awesome. That's like what the whole purpose of this is spreading the news so people can, find you better and then get themselves a product that they love and that's one of a kind." So I was actually really happy to hear that that sold. So no worries.
Yeah, that one was, I think, my second ink window. The green one that we looked at a minute ago was my first ink window.
Can you tell us a little bit about the ink window? Because I was curious because a lot of pens with ink windows are, piston filler. This is not. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So what I do is I try to make sure by measuring, I will make the section, cut the threads, and basically assemble the pen kind of externally, like put the parts where they're supposed to be side by side. And I'll figure out where the bottom of the converter is, and then I'll mark the pen and I'll make a cut at that level so that the ink window serves as a low ink. You can definitely see when you're low on ink.
So you can see
And
the converter from the exterior. You can still see the clear part, but you cover up all of the components of the converter except for that clear part. So from the external side here, you only see just that pure ink window. That's brilliant.
right, and the interior is drilled to have a very close tolerance with the converter, so that when you're looking at it, you don't see the wall of the converter. The converter disappears, and it will look like it's an eyedropper.
Yeah, look at that. That's awesome. Fantastic work.
So thank you.
That's beautiful.
Okay, so this is actually two different pens. One is Dark Heart, and
Oh, there's the finial. There's the rose.
there's
That's
the
awesome.
Rose Finial. These are all Hobble Creek. I threw these together all in a row. That's what
So
I
are these
threw
ones
out.
currently up for sale still?
The one showing currently, that's Darkheart, and that one sold. And that one honestly is one of the ones I'm the most proud of. This is NGC 604, which is a galaxy,
Oh, very
or
cool.
it's a nebula that was spotted by James Webb, Hubble Creek. He took inspiration from the photo and made that blank, and it is an absolute stunner.
I love it. I love
I
anything
mean,
astronomy themed too. Speaking of themes, do you want to tell us about? I noticed a theme between your different models that you had, the Lexington, the Concorde, and the Revere. Do you want to tell us about your three models that you have?
this is a Concorde.
All right.
This is just a classic flat top Concorde with the rose finial. It has a pewter finial in the body right there.
Love it. I love seeing the
Just
finials.
it's a great way to tie the pen together and add my flair to it. It's one of those things of, there are some makers where you look at the pen and you know exactly who it is. With my pens, you're definitely going to be able to tell either with the metal, bronze, or pewter finials,
Hmm.
as well as with the roses. As for the naming, I consider myself an old school patriot, somebody who, I love this country. It's given a lot to me. The Revolutionary War, I'm a history nerd. I wanted to pay homage to how we came about as a country.
I haven't really talked about this in the channel before, but I'm actually from Massachusetts, so I, live in amongst all those towns that you're naming your pens after. So that's got a really cool connection. I think that's really admirable. Do you want to tell us about the Lexington, which is your next model?
The Lexington is in prototype phase.
Oh, okay. So that one's not going to
Uh,
be up here yet.
it's right there in the middle on the bottom.
Purple one here.
Yep, that one.
Nice.
That is Dr. Brownie. He approached me with the idea of a snap cap,
Hmm.
and I ran out to the parts store and grabbed some O-rings and started tinkering around with the idea. So that will definitely be the Lexington model
Love it.
once it comes out. The intent is for it to be an eyedropper. That's the next big step for me as a maker.
I love it. I love the innovation that you guys just hit the ground running. And we know Dr. Brownie, he's a familiar friend here of the channel, so that's awesome.
Oh, he's absolutely an amazing dude.
Kind of helped orchestrate this actually, if you think about it, because he sent me your
Oh,
pen, and then now
oh,
we're talking. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
thank you, Brownie, if you're
absolutely.
out there.
Yes,
And
sir. Thank
the
you,
pocket
Brownie.
and the pocket pen, the Revere. Is there any pictures of that we can pull up, or that's still kind of in the works too?
Yeah, I've got a reel up, and there you can see it's
Oh, gorgeous, awesome resin.
that
There it is. There's the video.
is Addicted to Blanks. I believe it's Marianas or Nebula. I don't remember exactly. But that was my first attempt at a pocket pen. There are several other makers that, have the Traveler. So for the inspiration for this one, for the name, it just reminded me not only with the color, but with the idea of it being a traveler. I went with Revere,
Yes,
for
Paul Revere.
Paul Revere's Midnight Ride.
Yeah, it's a beautiful midnight color too.
It just when I say I let the blank talk to me, I really let it talk to me, and it may not make a whole bunch of sense,
But once you start hearing like the backstory behind each pen, you can definitely tell that there's a conversation and deep thought that has gone to each pen. And that Traveler has a size 6 Bach nib. It is an eyedropper with an O-ring. I look forward to making more. This was a really, really fun build. And
And I like how,
the
like you said, it's a traveling size pen. So one of the things that's cool about your pens is they're, on the larger side. I've got larger hands too, so it
mhm.
feels really good in the hand. But then when you have to put it away in your pen case, actually, your last one that you sent me, it like barely there was like less than a millimeter left in my pen case where it could actually
Yeah,
fit. So it's nice to be able to still have that full size feel, but yet still kind of uncap it, turn it around, and then it makes it much more compact, so you can actually put it away in your bag or your journal, whatever you're carrying with you. So great design.
absolutely. And that being the first one, there's definitely going to be design iterations. When we were talking earlier, I had just gotten um, two crystal clear blanks from McKinsey, and I've got my 4th of July pen that's going to be coming out, and I have a feeling it's going to be a Revere. Addicted to blanks. He's following in his father's footsteps. That has the rose finial as well. I love the colors in
Mm-hmm.
this. I I don't know why, but I am absolutely a pastel. Just this color scheme is that's my palette. I love playing with those colors.
It reminds me a lot of some guitar picks I've got out of like celluloids, and I've had guitar picks that like perfectly match that. So it's a very cool color, and I like how you can change the color of the finial to the rose to match the different
Mm-hmm.
colors of the pen too. Now, where can our friends find you? What's the best way to contact you? Instagram, email? I know you're setting up a website.
I'm on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Robert Tierce, Tierce. On Instagram, it is the Patriot Pen Turner
And that's what we got pulled up here so
with,
folks can see.
yep, email address is currently the best way to get a hold of me. RT Pen Co at Proton, Proton .me.
Love it. And we're going to put all of
So,
those links down below too, so you guys can just scroll down and click, and that way you can get in contact with our friend Rob.
and I look forward to hearing from anybody and everybody.
Cool. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to us, man. This has been great. It's been great. Just getting to know you from the beginning when I used one of your pens. Didn't even know it was like your second pen ever, and you still like it was a phenomenal pen. So much so I would have never thought in a million years that this was like someone's first or second pen. I thought that was like a production model that you had already hit the ground running with, and I just happened to get one later on. So to kind of retroactively find that out, I was definitely kind of taken aback. So you're doing awesome work, and I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us and reveal a little bit about your process.
Oh, I want to thank you for having me on and giving me a voice so that I can talk to those folks that might want to reach me or might want to know a little bit more about the design ethos, what goes into the pens, because really I put my heart and soul into every pen. All my pens go through ultrasonic baths. They're scrubbed, they're cleaned, they're
Clean and pristine.
packaged. Yes, sir. And, you know, one thing that I don't know how other makers do this, but this is something I do. If there is a defect with the pen, if there's something that happens to the pen, I offer lifetime warranties. so that if something happens to the pen, reach out and we'll talk about getting the pen back to me, and I will do whatever I can to repair, or we can talk about a replacement, because I mean, my name, my initials are on the pen, but my name, my company, I stand behind every pen that goes out the door. You
That's
know,
very admirable. Yeah, you're taking care of everybody, and like you said, your name's on the pen, so that's like a namesake. That's something that you're putting your name on something only if you're proud of it. So it's admirable.
yeah. And, I just want to make sure that anybody that buys from me has a positive interaction with myself, and then goes on to have an amazing experience with their pens.
And I
And
think
that's
that is
and
certain.
and that's what I live for. And I love custom pens. I love it when people come to me and say, here's the color palette I'm thinking of, here's the nib that I'm thinking of, what can you do? And then sit down with a sketchbook. I'll go through and pick some blanks and show them to the client and say, which one sparks your interest. I've got some clients where I set blanks aside and nibs, I put them aside. I love just breaking the mold and going and saying, okay, what do you personally want?
Even this one,
And
I'm looking, and you've got your initials engraved on the nib there too. So that was cool.
yeah, that's one thing that I've been doing, is the nib of choice gets that's been a recent addition. So all my nibs get RT on the nib, as a maker's mark.
Cool.
And it's a lot of fun. Um, I will be, for those that are coming to the Orlando Pen Show, I will be there. I will have a table. You can come and meet me and talk to me, and I look forward to it. I'll have most of the pens that you see here on Instagram. I'll have most of those with me. Orlando Pen Show is my professional debut.
And
I
that's coming
am,
up in September too.
that is September 5th through the 7th, I believe.
Nice, of 2024.
Um,
If you're watching this in the future.
exactly.
Well, hopefully you can make it up to Boston. I'm going to try and hit up some pen shows this year too, but who knows? Maybe I'll see you at a pen show at some point. That'd be pretty cool.
One of my goals is the DC Pen Show,
Hmm.
and I've got some friends and contacts that are in the Northeast that go to the DC Pen Show. Just great folks that I would love to meet, and that would be an awesome way to get up there and meet them. That would be great. One more thing to hit is, after the Orlando Pen Show, I am going to be doing some charity auction pens. I am in the pipeline for getting permission from Mission 22, which is a veteran suicide prevention group. I'm going to be doing a pen for them. I'm in the pipeline to get their permission to use their logos on the pen. Folds of Honor, I'm in the pipeline to get theirs. They do scholarships and help Gold Star family members.
Very nice.
Gold Star family members, for those that don't know, they are family members that have lost a loved one while in service to our country.
Hmm.
So Folds of Honor, Mission 22, Till Valhalla project. Veterans affairs are really near and dear to my heart. Also autism awareness. I do plan on a autism auction pen, and all the proceeds, every penny of the proceeds will be going to the charity for which the pen is made for.
It's amazing.
How was it that you put it earlier? If we have a gift.
Oh yeah, I was out at a diner earlier today, and I saw a quote that I liked, and it was something to the effect of, your purpose in life is to find your gift, and then once you find your gift, your purpose in life is to share your gift. And it was a quote from Picasso.
That's awesome. And that's what I'm looking for. If I'm known for being a great pen maker, that's great. But I also, I would like, if there's going to be a legacy from my pens, it would be that I gave back as much as I got.
They're helping people.
And I do have several veterans that have signed on to make the presentation cases for those auction pens.
Is that our friend we saw earlier that made the gold leaf box for you?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Very
sir.
cool. Check out Rob's Instagram. He posted something recently of that process. So it was very cool.
Yeah, J2 Designs. John is an amazing, amazing craftsman. And he did a board for me. I asked him to do the laser engraving with my logo. And I told him that I was going to do the gold inlay, and he decided to surprise me and do it himself. And I absolutely can't wait to get it. I have found myself surrounded with just amazing people such as yourself. There's so many amazing people that are so willing to jump in, unbelievable craftsmen that it's like, look, I would have paid you. And they're like, no, this is going to charity. And they do charity work as well. And it just, I'm blessed beyond measure. My wife supports me in what I do. My kids turn with me on occasion. So it's a family thing around here. And all I can say is there's a bright future ahead. I look forward to, every pen, and I'm going to get you a pen in the mail soon.
Oh yeah, we'll get some more reviews and give it a look and show everybody your handiwork.
Oh, absolutely.
So thank you again very much for taking the time to talk to us today, Rob. Check out all the links down below. Rob, thank you again for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you for being our honorary first member on our interview channel we set up here, Correspendence. And we will definitely come back and talk to you again in the future, especially once we get some of those new models.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, especially, being the first. And yeah, I definitely look forward to doing this many more times.